to transition into the Western Conference, I'm going to go first and say that my biggest disappointment right there.
Yeah, totally agree.
It's
Totally agree.
it's we talked about it briefly last episode on Sunday, or when the episode posted on Monday. It's tough right now, like Kyle said, due to COVID. We did lose about 4 or 5 players to COVID, and then 2 or 3 to injury, kind of at the same time. So like we had an 8-player carousel of injuries and COVID restrictions. So we did have to call some people up. We did have to play some people that haven't really played before. We had to play some rookies in some situations and run some lineups that we weren't really comfortable in. Obviously, the injured players came back a little bit sooner than the COVID players. And our rotation finally. I think last night was the first game we had our full starting lineup without an injury report to waiver for the first time since the beginning of the year. And, we did lose to the Suns. We lost to the Suns by 1 point. It really is what it is. I mean, defensively, once again, we just kind of look like dog shit. Chris Paul had his way with us. He had about 35 points. Devin Booker scored the last 15 points in the fourth. Or should I say he scored 15 in the fourth, including the game winner that put them up one. And Luka just could not, hit the game winner. Well, I believe it was about a 35-foot shot to kind of steal the game. 1.5 seconds left on the clock. You don't really expect much. I would say we have the talent, we have the coach, we have the superstar, or should I say, one of the best players in the NBA. We do have the supporting cast in Kristaps Porzingis and Tim Hardaway Jr., who I am consistently not a fan of, but the games that he does go off, I kind of cheer for him a little bit. But I mean, as a whole, the Mavs are sitting at the 13th seed in the West. We are just looking like absolute utter garbage. We are one of the worst teams in the NBA, not only the Western Conference, but the league. And it is frustrating to watch. But like Kyle said, it is the first quarter of the season. I believe that we can turn it around. I believe that this organization has the players and the grit to, bite down and kind of push forward. It's a matter of kind of holding together and not giving up. But as I know, as a unit, we're not rebounding the basketball well. We're playing terrible defense. Our shot selection is absolutely atrocious, and we're not really getting to the free throw line. And when we are, we're not hitting those free throws. Trust me, I haven't been able to watch a lot of the games because they're not televised and I don't have league pass, but I see enough, Mavs recaps, and I do see enough of the box score to know exactly what's going on because I've been a Mavs fan for the majority of my life. So when I see that we shoot 34% from the field and we took about 45 threes, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't. When I see that we have 3 7-footers on our team and we get out rebounded by 16 to 20, it doesn't surprise me because it does. We don't encourage boxing out. We kind of play and we watch the ball, and when it bounces into another center's hands, or the most embarrassing thing when it bounces to the top of the key and one of the guards get it, it's absolutely frustrating. There's no reason that Willie Cauley-Stein, Boban Marjanovic, and Kristaps Porzingis aren't averaging upwards of 8 to 12 rebounds a game per fucking player. It's annoying. We traded for Will Cauley-Stein because of his defensive presence and his ability to rebound. We traded for Kristaps Porzingis because of his ability to score the basketball, shoot, rebound, and protect the rim. And we went and signed Boban Marjanovic because we needed a big body. And I don't know, for whatever reason, we're the home of international players. And Boban has actually been probably one of my favorite players to watch as a Mav because it's just so entertaining to watch someone, or should I say, some human being that big play a sport that makes the actual instrument, aka the basketball, feel this tiny in his hands. But to get back on topic, the Mavs are just not playing up to par. I think we can turn it around. If you could do me the favor and read me our next schedule, I know it's not the most difficult, but we're gonna have to, get some good wins and quality wins coming up soon.
Well, over the next couple of weeks or so they play Atlanta tomorrow. They just came off of a loss to the Lakers. Then after that, you got to play the Warriors twice in a row. After that,
James Wiseman's out.
And then after that, you have a pretty easy matchup against the Timberwolves. That should be a win for you guys. Then you guys play Atlanta again. Then you guys have a stretch where you play the Pelicans, the Blazers, the Pistons, and then the Rockets.
So not the hardest schedule in the world, like you read
No.
off a couple of the teams we talked about earlier. We don't have the worst. So we have some quality opportunity to really turn this around, get people's legs back under them, and get that team chemistry built back up because we cannot afford to go on another 6-game losing streak like we are now, or increase the losing streak that we're already on as we speak. So we got to turn it around. Got to turn the emphasis on immediately to defense and rebounding. And the offense will come when people just when shots start to fall. It eventually happens. But if we don't defend the basketball and if we don't find a way to rebound, we are not going to compete not only in the Western Conference but in this league. So it's just frustrating for me as a Mavs fan.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And trust me, like I've looked through all of the Western Conference teams, and by and large, the only team that really stands out to me that has really been playing subpar basketball this year, as far as championship contending teams coming into this year, is Dallas. Dallas should be better than the third worst seed in the Western Conference right now. I had them as like a top 3, top 4 seed going into the playoffs this year. And to your credit, you mentioned the fact that they are just getting out rebounded. They are getting bodied down low, and they have bigs that can go up and get rebounds. It's just that they're not getting it done. But they've got to get it together, man. They've lost 6 straight games in a row. Granted, I'm with you with the whole COVID situation. They have not been able to field a full roster for the majority of the season this year, and they've been playing some really close games, like the Suns game yesterday, and even the Suns game from a couple days ago. They only lost to the Suns by 6 points, but they have got to step up the defensive intensity. I saw that game last night where Chris Paul was just getting look after look of just easy shot attempts in the mid-range. Absolutely torched him in the mid-range game last night. He dropped 34 points and looked like Chris Paul when he was 24, 25 years old last night, the way that he was just dicing up that Mavericks defensive scheme. So, I mean, Luka offensively has been playing fine. Kristaps has been playing better. Obviously, he had to deal with the whole being out of the lineup with the beginning of the season, but he's been playing better. But this really starts with the defense. They've got to play better defensively. I know that they can score, but if they don't play defense to match that, they're not going to go anywhere. But it's Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle is one of the best coaches in the NBA. They have the talent there on paper to go out and compete for a title. I really do believe this team can compete for a title. But if they can't play defense, and if these guys can't get their effort up in the games that really matter, especially over these next 2 to 3 weeks, they could be some trouble here. I'm not going to rule out the fact that they may not be able to turn this around if they don't turn this defensive intensity up.
Agreed.